All right, Grasshoppers. Yes, it is Labor Day, and we will be having some fun, some festivities later. But Coach and I decided we have to, because it is Labor, might as well be working. So,
show goes on, baby. Show goes on.
That's right. So just, Mark Puttenvik, trainer, Patriot Training Systems is his company. Trains everybody, housewives, Navy SEALs, anything in between. Not to belittle housewives. Housewives are in fantastic shape. I don't mean to say it at that end, just different ends of the spectrum. How you doing there, Start off? Oh, so yeah, right. Good. He puts a shirt on now because he doesn't want to show off, right?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought you'd be proud of me this morning. My gym had flooded after the floods the other day. And one of the rooms there is carpeted, and they haven't got it dried out yet. So they put a sign up at the door. So I showed up there at 4:30 this morning, sign up at the door. It said, "We strongly advise, due to the conditions inside, that you do not work out in this gym." Put the key in and went and had a great workout.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. The flooding. I was watching the news this morning. Apparently, a lot of the rivers in New Jersey still are not crested yet.
Yeah.
So still a lot of flooding going on. And Friday nights I teach a boxing class down at a friend of mine who's he's got a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school in Fort Lee, New Jersey. So he also has another one in Elmwood Park, and that one his Elmwood Park school was completely devastated.
Oh,
yeah, I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, it was nasty. Around here, I'd probably the same thing with you. I went out the next morning, there's so many cars just sitting on the side of the road, stranded, all full of mud. People, like even streets that I went down, I was really surprised where they're airing out their cars. The amount of water, it wasn't just low-lying areas, too. The amount of water must be huge.
When we came out here to Southampton, when we left Friday, we take the Long Island Expressway. And in Queens, because it's a good portion of Queens, I thought it was Long Island, but it's still Queens until you get out a little bit. Cars abandoned everywhere. Yeah. Some you could see mud on it was crazy. Yeah. Then I read in the Post yesterday 600 cars in Queens were.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's crazy stuff.
So you're getting compliments here from Barry Shelley. Barry, how are you doing on Labor Day?
Thanks, Barry.
Our veteran. Thank you again for your service.
Sure. Thank you, Barry.
You and Ron. Both you guys.
Hey, Ron. What's going on, brother?
Okay. First, I got to give you a hard time a little bit, right? So before the show started, Mark disclosed to me that we're lucky we have him now. He almost choked on our lobster roll.
Yes.
The other day.
You know what? Go ahead, Tom. But
no, go ahead. I want to hear this.
I get so excited when I get food in front of me. We took a little bit of time. We had traffic coming out here, and I just start shoveling the food in, and I swallowed air, and I felt a piece of lobster go down, and it lodged not in my throat but in my chest right here. And like Beth is sitting here, I go, I think that's it. I'm going. This is a cardiac. I'm done. And in my head, I'm thinking, it's been a good run. Would have liked to see my Mets, my Jets, my Rangers maybe win one more time, but I don't think I'll ever live long enough for that. But anyhow, so Beth
keep going with your story. Keep going with your story here. I just got our buddy here, Royce.
Yeah, no. Royce. Hey, Royce, what's going on, brother?
We're going to talk about Royce when we get done with your story. We're going to talk about Royce.
Yeah. So and Beth, through it all, Beth was very calm. She's like, I'm going to call 911. And I said, no, call 911. So, but she got it in. But anyway, long story short, I ran out in the backyard and I was bent over in pain and I feel this pressure here. And then my whole chest just convulsed. A piece of lobster came flying out about 100 miles an hour. Yeah. Also, I went in and finished. I mean, I don't want to let a good lobster roll go to waste.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to eat it. Yeah, definitely. So Royce that just chopped up there, he was with us on the swim.
Yes,
that's the first time I had met him. When I talk about the swim across the Hudson, the Navy SEALs and everything did. And tiny little guy, sweetheart of a guy, gentle, calm. But you're telling me he's a killer warrior. Right?
Yeah. So Royce, I got to start training with Royce, and really, really lucky that I have, because I kind of during the beginning stages of COVID, everybody's locked up at home, and I started bouncing around on YouTube, and I saw this Filipino martial art called Kali, and I went online, and I couldn't find anybody. But anyhow, I found Royce, and he is my guru, which means teacher, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, guru. But he's not only a Filipino martial artist, he's also done Muay Thai and karate. He's been doing this for about 35 years. And he is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He's very unassuming, but you would wake up in the hospital going, what just happened?
He's a small guy too. And you guys, I think you guys know, we've had Kenny Bigby Jr. on, former Navy SEAL, was in the swim, friend of Mark's and friend of mine now. And after the swim this time, they did. What were they doing? They were
So it's a flow drill we call Sabayan, and it's either empty hands or you have a training knife in one hand, and basically it's a flow drill where you're working on movement and catching and countering, and it builds attributes. So you do it and you do it and you do it, and then you could break it down in pieces. So in other words, the whole Sabayan drill, the beginning is about 6 or 7 movements, I think 6, but you can break it down to where you're going to go to 3 and then do a destructive blow or
they did. Didn't you post that on your site?
I did, and Royce did, and so did Kenny Bigby, and they were going like fire.
It was good. That was good.
Going like fire.
Guru, he was teacher.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
For, every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, Royce.
Yeah, you're right. Twice a day, just like that broken clock I have. Yeah.
But yeah, it was amazing because Kenny's he's a great athlete. Royce is a great athlete. And they were, and like all the SEALs were gathering around, like, oh, what are these guys doing, man?
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So one of my all-time favorite teammates, I didn't get to play with him very much, was a guy by the name of Jake Caulfield. I ended up playing more of his career with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Great guy. I think he's more of a football player, and he really, and he would admit it himself, he really wasn't like as a player wasn't great. He had a huge heart, would fight anybody, and he was a big man. That's why he was there. Now, the one problem Jay had, if you ever watched him, and you felt bad for him, he just had terrible balance on his skates. And, it was almost, thank God he's such a good guy. Last week we joke around a little bit, but, he was, again, just do anything for the team. One of the great teammates ever. But so you had sent me a video today. You got a couple of young guys that are trying to or going to play in the East Coast League.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot more fighting in the East Coast League than there is in the NHL. So you're training them, really interesting video you had posted there where you're training them to have balance on the skates. Now they're out in the field, you're training today, but you're trying to help them have balance in the skates. So pretty important.
Yeah. So again, similar to you, when I was with New York with Steve McKenna, who was like 6'6", 6'7", really big kid. And he had the same issue because their center of gravity is so high.
Yeah.
So when you start tugging and pulling, sometimes a little guy has an advantage, especially if he gets in tight. He can kind of latch on and pull you down. But anyway, I remember, I don't know where we were, but he went out and he got into it and he came back to the bench. He said, weebles wobble, but they do fall down, right? So anyhow, when I had these kids the other day, one of them is a defenseman who plays, and he's a tweener. He's like 5'11", 195. He's not a big guy. He's not a small guy. And he said he had 7 or 8 fights last year, which that's a lot for
nowadays.
For a guy who's not a fighter. And again, to your point, the East Coast, it's a lot more fighting. So I was showing him some things with jersey grabs and kind of push and pull and whatnot. And I'm basically trying to show him and Mike, the other gentleman there, the other player, not how to win a fight, but how to make sure you don't get destroyed. More just tie him up and let the linesman come in and jump in. So the difficulty that I had in my mind as I was laying out the training program for the day was, how do I incorporate some kind of balance issue? Because we could stand on a field and push and pull. It's difficult, but it's not really that hard. On ice, as you know, because you've been in a bazillion fights, it's a totally different environment. So what I did was I sent Tom the video. I had them fight on one leg. So the issue was a balance issue, and it kind of, I think it worked well because it did give the feeling of being on the ice. So we did some right leg stuff, then we switch over to the left leg. Yeah.
And I know for me, actually, that's how we met, I think, because I posted a couple of videos. We had met yet. This probably going back, is that 2 years ago now? I think it's 2 years ago. Yeah. I really started doing a lot of core exercises on the balance board and the balance ball, the Bosu ball, and similar kind of logic, right? It doesn't get you used to it, but it also really builds your core up. And I got to tell you, I know we've talked about it before, but I've had a bad back from playing. A lot of guys have bad backs. And since I've started working my core, my back is fine. I know my neck is another issue, but somebody said my neck is sore because I guess it's a big head. I got to carry around my head all the time. But that balance stuff is fantastic. It is great for that case with those hockey players, but just for people in general to really, strengthen your core, take the pressure off your back. So correct me if I'm wrong. So if you're tightening your core more, instead of your back, your skeleton really taking all the stress of daily activities, it's more now your muscles are helping out. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple factors that we want to talk about. One is we talk about the core as if it's a separate entity from our body. It's all part of the same thing. So it's your core, but it's also your hip flexors. There's a lot of stabilizing muscles that are involved, and obviously, the sense of balance is internal in your mind or your head. Your ears. So we all know that if you have an ear infection or your ears are clogged up, your balance is a little bit off. interesting guy for many reasons was Theo Fleury. And we were talking one day. He grew up, I forget the name of the town, but there was only like 1,200 people in the whole town.
Yeah.
And he was an only child, I believe. But what he told me was, anyhow, around his home was a fence, was a big square around the house. And he would be bored for hours on end. And what he would do as a little kid, he would walk the fence, like a regular chain link fence.
Yeah.
He'd walk it for hours at a time. Because I said to him, I said, Theo, I understand your center of gravity is lower because he was a pretty small guy. And he was really bow-legged. Like you could drive a train through his legs. But he said, yeah, my balance comes from walking the fence as a kid for hours and hours a day.
So he was on top of the fence?
Yeah. He would walk the perimeter of the fence for hours at a time. And
Interesting.
And he feels that really, contributed to his great sense of balance. The other thing that I do, and I've seen you do it as well, is so take a simple exercise, say like an upright row, and do it on one leg, switch to the other leg. And then if you really want to get crazy, do it on the Bosu because it's kind of an unstable environment. And there are ways that we can mimic either being on the ice, or one of the other things I used to do when I was working with some football players, they'd be doing a movement again with weight they can handle. I come up on the side of them and give them a shove or a push.
Yeah.
One of the things I did with my boxers, Tom, when we got done training, I'd have them do 15 rotations with their arms out in the ring, get dizzy as anything, and then you'd have to shadow box. There was a different reason we did it because it kind of mimicked when you get really hit with a hard shot and you get a little bit rocked. Yeah. But it really increases your balance and being able to still perform in that condition.
Yeah. So Tim, I think Tim's one of our loyal listeners here, and he's poking fun of himself a little bit here. My chiropractor told me to get rid of that gut because it's making your back work harder. Well,
yeah.
There's a lot of issues. Why we want you healthy, Tim, all around healthy. So get rid of that. Get rid of the extra weight. There's no question about it. Yeah. All right. So the strengthening your core and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, so the core is important, absolutely is. And so I think I've mentioned this before. There's a thoracic cavity that's between your abdominal wall and your low back, and there's a pressure in there, so to speak. We want to keep it equal. So what happens is too many times people will do abdominal exercises and neglect the low back. So now you have your abdominal wall is so strong, it's actually pulling your back, your spine forward, and that can create some problems. So again, when we talk about balance, there's a lot of issues. One is stabilizing muscle groups in addition to the core contribute to your balance, and it's like everything else. Train it, and you'll get better. So train on one leg, train on unstable surfaces. In my other realm of life with the combatives and all that stuff, I love to do it in the woods. I'm not on a flat surface in the gym. Yeah. I like to be kind of, I take a digger every once in a while, but that's all part of it.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like we even talked before, be careful if you haven't worked out a whole lot and you want to do your core or do unbalanced things, even simple things if you're bench pressing, put uneven weights on each side. I mean, don't go crazy. Don't do that with really heavy weights. But if you've just got, a 25 on one side and a 10 on the other, something like that, then change it around. So
even doing one arm stuff, Tom, because it'll throw you off. So if you're doing a one-arm dumbbell press on the bench, you got to really stabilize your left side or you're going to flip over.
Yeah. All right. Tim's got a question here for us.
Okay.
I have a concern. I have a bulging ridge in the middle of my abs. When I tighten them, it sticks out. What is that?
Sounds to me, and again, you see a doctor, but it sounds to me like it's a hernia. Because what will happen is the intestine gets a hole. I'm sorry, the cavity, the stomach cavity, the abdominals get a hole in it, and part of the intestine or one of the organs will pop through a little bit. Yeah. So you want to get that looked at.
Hernia. So in your case, Tim, that's a hemia. Get that? He. It's a little humor there.
Yeah.
Very little humor. Debbie's got a question. As a COVID survivor, long-termer. Hold on. Debbie, as a COVID survivor, long-term, I haven't had it and sick for 5 weeks in April. One of the long-lasting issues, along with the short memory loss and brain fog, I'm left with terrible balance issues that have fallen several times. Don't know how to get my balance back. Oh, That's interesting.
Yeah, that I haven't heard that side effect from COVID, but you know, it's such a new frontier with this unfortunate disease.
First of all, sorry to hear that, Debbie, too.
Yeah,
But,
very sorry to hear that.
well, I guess we don't know Debbie's, and I hope I don't say this the wrong way. Partly is your conditioning level to start with, right? Because if you haven't worked out a whole lot, maybe start slowly with some of these exercises that we're talking about, just standing on one leg and doing some exercises, and see if that helps at all. She should be able to, I would think, like strengthen her body enough to kind of compensate for that, correct?
Yeah, and again, some of the balance issue may be something to do with the brain fog and everything else. Again, I'm not a doctor, and I don't want to give out any information that's not correct.
Yeah.
But, hopefully, it'll come back. I haven't heard of any long-term balance issues, but
yeah, you're right though. That's the kind of stuff you want to go to. That just isn't like a physical issue. That's something you need to go to the doctor. Maybe something in the brain. I tell you, I'm a bit now. Again, I want to be careful, just like Mark is saying here too. I'm not saying this cures all of it, but I think Mark and I were both really big believers in fasting and how that really helps regenerate cells in your body and in your brain. And again, I'm not trying to suggest for Debbie that is the answer, but I just believe that that's kind of a healthy way to make yourself healthier. So
yeah, there's no question it can help. Yeah, because that's part of the autophagy that we always talk about.
Right. I broke down yesterday. Made myself have red meat. Do you eat red meat very much?
Yeah, well, not much, but at least once a week. I mean, I may go a week or two without it just because, but yeah.
Yeah, I probably been months since I had a nice big steak yesterday. I figured it was Labor Day, so I had to grill. So I made up. There's a little bit of butter I used yesterday too.
Butter's okay. I mean, again, don't overuse it, but I prefer butter over the vegetable oil butters that are out there now. Just don't go crazy with it.
Yeah, like any foods like that people say aren't that good for you. Well, it depends what your whole diet is like too. Like, butter's a good case. But if you're eating cookies and all that kind of stuff and you're having butter, well, obviously none of it's good for you. But if you're got a healthy diet, then once in a while you put some butter in,
I would be more concerned about sugar than anything else.
Yeah. Well, Royce has got some Royce is doing, I like it. He's knowledgeable.
He's on top of it.
In traditional martial arts, we have a thing called the horse stance, where you basically do a wide squat and hold it while doing techniques. However, you have tucked your tailbone basically you're rolling pelvis forward, basically looking like you have no rear end. This forces the body to stack your spine, gives you great center of body control. Oh, interesting. You can stand on periods of time. Also strengthening the back of the core. Interesting. Thanks, Royce.
Yeah, that's great stuff.
And I also recommend banana planks and Superman holds. What's the Superman hold? You're laying flat and you're just arms and legs are up, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Banana plank, I'm not sure. I'm afraid to ask what that is because it sounds could be dangerous.
Banana plank. Yeah. Maybe it's like, the shape of a banana. You try to think.
Yeah, maybe it kind of.
Yeah. So it's similar to the Superman hold, right? This Barry Shelley, every week he just gets more and more intelligent, more and more tasteful.
Yeah.
I made the steak in the grill and I did that thing, where it's still warm. You put a little pat of butter on it, and it just melts all over it. Oh,
well, so try this. If when the weather gets cold and you don't have the grill option, you take a saute pan, you put your steak in it with butter, and then you tilt the pan and you kind of just keep spooning the top. Yeah.
I've seen that.
Man, it's
I guess the real professional way to do a steak is in the oven, right? That like at steakhouses, that's what they do it.
They'll either do it in a pan and the way I was talking about it, or they broil it.
Yeah. It was good though.
I remember being in Montreal, a place called Horse and Feathers. I forget what it was in French, but you sit upstairs, you look down, and they had this big round grill, and you see them cooking all your food. Oh. It was amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. What's your favorite food if you ever pick a food?
I really kind of like just chicken. I love chicken. I could eat chicken every night. Yeah.
Mine would definitely have to be the Thanksgiving and the turkey we have for Thanksgiving. Because it's the whole smell of the house and the gravy, the mashed potatoes.
And that's one of the things that people don't understand, how the emotional attachment we have to food. And when you think about it, when you're a kid, you do well, you get ice cream, right? If you're not feeling well, they give you candy. Yeah. If you're upset, they give you a piece of chocolate.
It's true.
You try to get that emotional attachment, but it also all the memories. Like you said, you smell that Thanksgiving dinner.
I know.
You know it's the holiday season.
There was a TV show, and I can't remember what it was. And one time I was sick home from school when I was a little boy, and I don't know why I remember this. And my mother had made pea soup, and the smell of the pea soup. So whenever I saw this TV show, I would smell pea soup. and it's amazing. I don't know. Yeah.
My
But talking about getting attached to food. Again, I believe this, and I think you feel the same way, that part of people that have a problem with the weight a little bit, eating too much, they become accustomed to looking at food the wrong way. Like we tend to look more at food as nourishment. So I put things in my body that are going to do things for my body. You know, the ginger, the turmeric, the bananas, the avocados. Still can taste fine and like that, but I think so many people, especially, it's nobody's fault really. You watch TV all the time, and there's having these commercials with McDonald's. Everybody's happy. They get a big greasy cheeseburger and all that kind of stuff. I just a big believer that if we can really try to retrain our minds and how we view food, we can really help control our diets a lot more too.
Yeah, the truth, I mean, besides the fact that food tastes great, we use it for repair, cellular repair, and energy. I mean, that's the only two reasons we eat. The rest is all, I hate to use the word gravy.
Yeah, and you understand it's not people's fault. You watch TV and we're just bombarded with commercials for food all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's too bad we didn't. We get on this. I could beat this drum all day long, but we get more of our politicians all want to they get rid of smoking cigarette commercials. All good stuff. It's good. It should be gone because they want us to be healthy. And again, there's bad foods just like
all day long. And it's interesting. You'll see a commercial for a McDonald's or a Burger King or something that's probably not a great choice, immediately followed by a medication for high blood pressure.
Oh, I know.
Or something like that. Yeah.
And then at the end of that, they got 5 minutes to tell you what this thing's going to do, or this drug's going to do to your eyeballs. Going to pop out.
Do you know that we're the only country, I'm pretty sure of this, on the planet that has drug medication advertisements on television?
Yeah.
We're the only one.
Well, that's an interesting topic for you. Way back, that goes back to before Ronald Reagan was president, and the pharmaceutical companies were more run by the doctors at that time, and they themselves did not want commercials on TV. Then once the business people started taking over the pharmaceutical companies, then they lobbied, and I'm not blaming Ronald Reagan, but it was that era. They lobbied the politicians to change all that, and now all of a sudden we've had these commercials. Because it's ridiculous, really.
I have a great friend of mine, Daniel Wilson. He used to be my sparring partner. We're great friends and family and stuff like that. And he's really into the whole, holistic approach to life. And he sent me a quote, and I love this. I think I might have sent it to you. Pharmacy, spelled Pharmacy, pharmacy, not farm. Yeah. We can heal ourselves with, not all the time, obviously, but we can certainly start to heal or prevent illness with our consumption of food. No question. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, there's so many things we learn. Like I've learned about the CMOS, all the stuff too. But all these products. Like I'm even more of a believer in cannabis products too. Again, I'm not saying they can cure everything, but help with pain for cancer patients and everything. I've got a great friend of mine who's got a shop in La Jolla, California. And her son was an epileptic, and they had all kinds of medication he was on. It just ruined him. He was terrible. She just took him off medication and put him on CBD oil, and he's been fine since then.
I believe it. And the other part of the puzzle is all the additives that we put in our food, all the food coloring and things like that.
Oh yeah, I know.
I saw something. It's a long time ago, but there were kids that were really had social. They were really just hard to handle kids.
Right.
Very, spurts of violence. Once they removed the additives from their diet,
I know.
They were fine.
Totally, it's scary. Yeah, like when I go buy stuff now, I make much more of a point of looking at the ingredients. Yeah. You see all these words and you can't even understand what they are.
It looks like if it's a science experiment, you don't want to experiment on
totally.
Yeah.
And and again, I know not everybody has time to do all this, but like even simple things like making your own soup really are not that difficult. You make your own broth. I roast up some bunch of vegetables, put them in the blender, some water, season it the way I want. I can control how much sodium I put in my food, and then you add your chicken and vegetables or whatever kind of soup you want to make. Mm-hmm. And again, I know you have to make an effort to it, but it's your body, it's your health.
You enjoy it a little bit more when you make it yourself too.
Yeah, totally. It's true. Yeah,
time and effort and love you put into it. Yeah.
Get the country music going, big glass of wine, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love cooking. I really enjoy it.
Do you? Oh yeah, yeah. Good.
And I'm getting pretty good at it actually.
I'm feeling like I've got. I know. Yeah, I know this pandemic's been terrible for a lot of people, so I'm not trying to minimize the pain that we've come through. But I think for a lot of people, they've now kind of adjusted to life a little bit. Maybe they're cooking more at home, stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think in general, the problem is that So I went for my yearly physical in July, I think. And, you know, because I'm old now, first question asked, have you taken any falls recently? I said, hell yeah. I'm taking diggers all the time. You know, it's not because I'm old, it's just because it's, you know,
Yeah.
But it's amazing how, you know, the doctor said to me something. I said, Doc, let me ask you a question. What's my blood pressure? He goes, 120/70. How many 35 or 40-year-old men come in here and have blood pressure that's 120/70? I think I got it down pat. I'm going to probably die on a lobster roll, but I think everything else is okay for now.
Yeah. All right, Barry Shelley's got a good question here. He makes his own ice cream. We've seen people yogurt ice cream. Is that better than the regular ice cream?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The problem with, you know, ice cream is if you're lactose intolerant, you're going to have problems with it. But look at the sugar. Look at the amount of sugar they put in ice cream.
So explain what happens to the sugar. When you eat sugar, what happens in your body with the sugar?
Well, a lot of bad things. I mean, first of all, there is some thought that it's actually toxic. And obviously you don't want to put anything in your body that's toxic, but you pump out a lot of insulin in reaction to the sugar, and you become almost insulin resistant. And that's when you start running into diabetes or pre-diabetic condition. And diabetes causes cardiovascular disease, cancer, you know, all kinds of nasty stuff. Right. And I forget what the percentage of Americans that are pre-diabetic. It's pretty high.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers. It's the percentage of people is either diabetic or obese or you know heart failure or heart disease because of their conditioning.
There's you know the real culprit here in most cases in our American diet is high fructose corn syrup, and I suggest that people take a look through the pantry and start looking at ingredients. You'll look at ketchup and it'll say tomato, water, high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
Then you look at salad dressing. It may say mayonnaise, high fructose corn syrup. It's a very cheap additive to sweeten foods up. Yeah. It's also highly addictive. If people have watched the film, what was the name of it now? Oversize.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Where the guy ate for 30 days, nothing but McDonald's. Yeah. He got addicted to it. McDonald's put sugar in their hamburgers.
Oh, is that right?
Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, Barry, I just need to correct Barry here. Thanks. We'll try to make some next time, Barry. We don't try here. We do. Okay, we're gonna.
Hey, Barry, try this. And I've done this in the past. It came out pretty well, actually. You take 3 avocados, right? You dump them into your blender. Then you put some cocoa powder in there, right? And then maybe a little bit of agave or some maple syrup, right? Blend that together, stick it in the freezer, and then you've got some good chocolate avocado ice cream. Or pudding. You could just chill it in the refrigerator. And
a lot of people. I put my avocados in my smoothie every day. A lot of people are like, avocados. It creams up like nice and creamy. Yeah, it's delicious.
Absolutely. It's a really healthy way to make your ice cream or a cold pudding or something like that. Yeah.
The problem is with my smoothie now. I'm getting all this stuff. I put sea moss in now. Yeah. I put collagen peptides in there. It's like I put so many things in my smoothie. It's turned into like a meal.
Hours.
I know. Yeah, I gotta get all the stuff. It's all, but again, it's another thing, and it tastes fantastic. But it's another thing. Everything in there has a purpose, right? The almond milk, the spinach is in there, all that stuff.
You know what's funny about the way we think? So yesterday I took a walk down to the store to get the paper, and I saw this, bottle that had celery and kale, and so I grabbed it, and I'm walking back, and I start drinking. I'm going, this tastes like, right?
Yeah.
But I almost feel good about it because I say to myself, if it doesn't taste good, it must be good.
Yeah.
Right.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I do that shot of apple cider vinegar in the morning, and I do my shot of ginger and turmeric, and it burns, but I just feel like I'm doing something good for my body, all the stuff. And actually the burn with the ginger and turmeric is kind of a good burn in some strange way.
Yeah. We went to the flea market yesterday. I bought, it was kind of expensive, but I bought a bottle of turmeric, liquid turmeric, and ginger and all the stuff in it. And the lady said, take a teaspoon before bed. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? My shoulders, I got through the night. I didn't wake up. And so
the turmeric being the anti-inflammatory, right?
Yeah.
And why before? Because if you got aches and pains, you do it before you go to bed, and you can.
Yeah, I mean, and she said you could do it multiple times a day. But so I'm walking, and kind of on topic, off topic about the situational awareness, right, Tom?
Yeah.
So, Southampton, all these homes are gorgeous here. But as I'm walking down, there's a little bit of stretch of the road where there's a gap between homes. And I actually saw a few deer. And there was a young lady, a blonde, very fit girl, running towards me. And
Well, they all do. They all do.
And she saw me and she turned around and went in the other direction. And I said to myself, that's exactly what you're supposed to do.
Oh,
Right. So I'm telling Beth the story. She goes, no. She said, you're wearing camo shorts. You got some kind of martial arts shirt on. And
you look like a freak.
Yeah. You look like a terrorist, Yeah.
So good decision by the girl. We'll go the other way.
Excellent decision. Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, I hate to say it, but people have to be so aware. We always do, but and again, I know we talked about this, but we have to help each other too. Like I know you're the kind of guy that if you didn't know this woman, if somebody tried to do something to her, you would help. Even if you didn't know her. At least we need to help each other more. Actually, where I walk is this Todd's Point in Greenwich, really nice place, and I see a lot of people same every day at the same time. This one gentleman, I can't remember his name, great guy. He really walks with a purpose. Like he's got the arms going, and he's great because he picks up garbage all the time. Like he'll find cups and stuff like that, picks them up. Just he doesn't have to. It doesn't work for the town. And we got talking about how Active Valor, the movie that the bunch of Navy SEALs were in, and the one Navy SEAL quotes these poems by Tecumseh, this warrior chief Tecumseh. And he talks about beautifying your world, and perfecting your life and beautifying your world. And I was telling this guy stuff, and he was like, "Oh yeah." And they saw him again today. Yesterday we saw each other. We were talking about it, and then he went and looked up all the poems and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. Like Tecumseh, he was apparently this warrior chief in the 1800s, the Shawnee warrior tribe. But he writes these poems talking about this beautiful stuff, about how to live your life and how to treat people around. It's pretty interesting stuff. So.
Well, there's a couple books that everybody in a lot of people in athletics, but everybody in military or law enforcement or combatives is Sun Tzu, Art of War, and then the other one's The Five Rings by Miyoshi, I believe his name is, and it's very spiritual, but it's also about and it's held true for hundreds of years. And
that is the truth with most of the military guys we meet, right? That they have a spiritual, real serious spiritual side to them. And like at the swim, at the start of the swim, when the one guy was reading out of the Bible, "Who shall I send?"
Yes,
remember that where he did that. So all this Navy SEALs and everybody, other people participating in the swim, get down on one knee and bow their heads. And this guy's standing there and he's making this speech talking about and the Lord. He's reading from, and the Lord yelled, "Who will I send?" Right. And he was going to then continue on and say somebody was going to stand up, but one of the Navy SEAls actually stood up. I don't know if that was prepared or not, but actually stood up and goes, "I will go." Yeah. And that was unbelievable when he did that. And I didn't seem like he was prepared. I thought that was kind of
no, it wasn't prepared. And that's
when he did that, oh man,
you're ready to go through a wall, right? I mean,
here I am, send me. That's right. Tim's got it. Yeah, here I am, send me.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
Tim. Absolutely.
That was classic. That was good. All right. Well, good stuff, guys. It is Labor Day weekend. Everybody be grilling and have fun. And like we've said, you don't have to be perfect with your diet. And again, today is a holiday. Family's going to be around, but just try to be careful with what you put in your body. And if you do, obviously work out, go for a walk later on. And otherwise, enjoy yourself and have fun.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be here next week because I'll probably we'll make it one more lobster roll before we leave.
You know what though? Yeah, just in case something does happen, if you do choke on a lobster, is it fair to say that you really enjoyed your life so that nobody will sit around and feel sorry for you? Just say,
and actually, you know what? To that point, I don't want a traditional. When I finally check out, I don't want the whole traditional wake and funeral.
Right.
I really don't. I just stick me in the ground, have a party, and just kind of have some laughs about what an idiot I was.
Actually, Kevin Allen and I a couple weeks ago had a discussion about this very same subject. Is that don't? But he brought up a good point. When his father-in-law was passing away, he didn't want to have anything either. And Kevin's mother or wife said to her father, "Listen, I'm not having the wake and everything for you. It's for us, so we can say goodbye." I thought that was pretty interesting. Like that. So I'm with you. But have fun.
I gave a eulogy for my uncle about 3 years ago.
Right.
He passed away. He was 98, World War II vet, battle of the Bulge. Never spoke about it, obviously, but he was one of those guys. Like he was like my second dad kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he had one-liners for everything. He didn't care. He could be in the best restaurant, whatever. The waitress come over and said, "What would you like, sir?" I'll have the turtle soup and make it snappy, stuff like that. Right? So when I gave his eulogy, I was using all his material.
Right.
And in the funeral home, people were laughing.
Yeah.
And they all, half a dozen people came up and said, Mark, I have to say, you took a very sad, somber occasion. We had a great time. I said, but that's the way I would want it. That's the guy he was. Yeah.
Because the whole, listen, everybody does what they want to do, but I think, I believe that's, okay, celebrate the life. Like Ron Gusher lost his mother,
Right, yeah.
and he's privately obviously had his moments where he's cried and all that kind of stuff. But I think he more looks at it now. They're going to celebrate her life instead of.
Yeah.
And obviously, they're going to miss. Both my parents are gone. I miss them to death. But I also look back at all the great things. I would not be the person I am if it wasn't for my parents and all the great things they did for me. So,
Yeah, I mean, they lived through you. I mean, I lost both my parents as well. I gave both eulogies for them, and that's pretty much what I said. I said, I'm doing things now because of my dad and mom. And
Yeah.
So they're still here. I don't want to get too deep into it, but they're still here through me.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It's funny when I watch my two sons. They're 28 and 31 now. They are so stubborn like me. It's just
Yeah. Oh, I know.
and they're just like my grandfather or my father's the same way. My grandfather's the same thing. The poor girls that are with them. I said, listen, it's handed down in the Laidlaw family. It's just a tradition.
Yeah,
So.
can't avoid it. Yeah, Sean's 30, Ty's 27, so it's the same age gap.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of me, unfortunately. I hope they outgrow it.
Yeah. Get all the good stuff too. All right, guys. Again, Mark Puttenvink, Patriot Training Systems. You can get a hold of them. Any kind of your training needs. Have a great day there, bud. Don't eat anymore. You know what? Eat a lobster. If you do happen to pass away, is it bad taste? If you choke it out of lobster roll, is it bad taste to serve lobster at your funeral or anything like that?
No, that'd be good. And actually, if I don't finish the sandwich, I'll tell Beth to cut off the part I was eating and pack it and hand it off to somebody. Yeah.
Really? There you go. Perfect. All right, guys. See you next week.
All right, guys.